Hello, I'm Katie June Friesen with the Small Business Anti-Displacement Network, or SBAN. And joining me today is Javier Rivas, who is Senior Small Business Development Manager at the Latino Economic Development Center, or LEDC. Javier works primarily in the Maryland suburbs of Washington, D.C., but LEDC serves the entire D.C. metro area and Baltimore, and also Puerto Rico. Welcome, Javier. Thanks for talking with us.
Of course, happy to be here.
So yeah, tell us about your work at LEDC and the communities and the corridors you work in. What are the main issues you're trying to address?
Yeah, of course. Well, my work, takes me, like you said, all throughout Maryland. I also have one coach in Puerto Rico, but the main challenges we try to tackle in our communities are just education and information, really, and then building up that toolkit for the small business owner, really, so that they can succeed and thrive. Just a lot of financial literacy education, webinars as well on broad topics, from marketing to legal issues, and anything that falls under the kind of technical assistance umbrella. In many of our communities, generational wealth is not non-existent, or it's still there's like first generation immigrants that we're serving, and again, so it's just making sure that folks are able to build that wealth in their communities. For a lot of immigrants, right, and a lot of the communities that we serve, the one area for generating wealth has been creating a small business. That's kind of what a lot of people refer to as this the great democratic ideal, or the great American dream of being able to open your business and kind of grow and establish yourself in this country, right? And so whether that's achievable, I guess that's kind of what we're trying to meet, and we're trying to to bring these tools and knowledge and experience and manpower. It's really just and connection, really, and bringing that culturally competent service to maybe someone who has language access, or someone who has digital access issues.
When you came in, you said 2019,
Mm-hmm.
again, along working with the Purple Line, which for those who don't know is a new light rail project in the DC suburbs.
Mm-hmm.
And then also this construction project in Wheaton. What were the things that the small business owners were most worried about?
What comes with construction, lack of access to your storefront, traffic, increase in traffic, or losing pedestrian traffic, accessibility to your storefronts, utility shutoffs, just general noise and dust that comes with construction, having a construction vehicle parked, in front of your store. So, and again, with that comes a loss in revenues, right? The idea and the goal of the program, and what we were calling the Resilient Business Corridors program, that encompassed the Wheaton and Purple Line programs, as well as some other regional work in DC as well, and some other rapidly gentrifying corridors, right? So as just, propping these businesses up during what tends to be the most disruptive part of this process, the actual construction process, that many businesses don't survive. Again, maybe folks might not want to voice all of their concerns, again, because of some fear that they're or understanding that it is already so unstable, and if they do maybe complain about rent or something, or complain about their space kind of not being maintained properly, or the fact that there's they have spent their savings fixing up a space, when it shouldn't be their
The owner.
money and their wealth, again,
Yeah, right.
Going back kind of generational wealth is their wealth is being stripped by some bad actors out there, because again, they might not I don't want to, they might not want to say anything about it, because they know their the precarious nature of their situation. There is this kind of organic kind of advocacy component that comes with it. Not that we have like that capacity for, for like,
All advocacy, right?
I mean, ultimately, right. I think it is. I think,
Yeah.
I mean, we can talk about that, but I think it is ultimately like,
Yeah.
a lot of what we're facing, right, are systemic
Right.
challenges that don't, no matter how much, technical assistance we provide to someone, I think there's still a lot of disenfranchisement, or folks that might not want to share stories because they're afraid of, any repercussions, or how
Yeah.
unstable their business is, or they might not have a contract again, like I mentioned,
What do you see as some of the biggest challenges of your work going forward, or are there some recent causes for hope that you would like to share?
I think causes for hope is when I think when you see the kind of the business owners that we've helped once or twice, we've reached out, and then they come back to us and say like, hey, that was great. Thank you. Let's keep going. And so they get more engaged, right? And then they, again, ultimately, like the kind of self-advocacy and engagement in that process, I think is one of the goals of the program, even though it's not exactly what we do as technical assistance providers, but it's also what's kind of like, we still see it as part of the success of our program, is getting people engaged in that, in the civic program, civic system, and engaging with their elected officials, and wanting to, again, either provide a narrative, or sign letters saying, this is what's happening, this is what we need. I think the missing piece, I think, and again, that's also something that I've grappled since kind of starting with LEDC, is like how to engage kind of the property owners in this process and in these conversations. It's always like either at the small business level, or at the kind of policy level, but then like, how do we talk to the folks that are kind of like have real estate, and are ultimately going to make the decisions whether these, some of these communities thrive, or like, getting the county or the state or something, some mechanism to incentivize and just underscore the importance of like these community hubs along the corridors, or in other communities too. That it's not a metric that's kind of easily like boiled down to numbers, or even like capital, I guess, or assets, or financial realities, I guess. But I mean, I think there's like, I think getting them to understand, these property owners to understand the importance of these the services, and the history, and the communities that they serve, and the richness that is there already, I think is important.